Hello and welcome everybody to the Main Street Matters webinar. My name is Patrick Kaiser. I am the Executive Director of Heart on Main Street. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping out independent retailers. This is a monthly webinar series aiming to provide educational information for retailers to help their businesses grow and allow you to thrive within your local economy. Our guest today is founder of OmegaNet Inc., Toni Ivey, and she is here to talk to us about a fantastic program for retailers and small business owners to get refunds from the federal government for taxes that were paid during 2020 and 2021. This program exists to help small business owners, but many are not taking advantage of this. So we wanted to provide you with information on how to take those steps to get your money back, and take advantage of this before that window closes. Toni, thank you very much for joining today.
It's a joy.
Yeah, Toni, and along with her husband Gary, founded OmegaNet Inc. Over 25 years ago. You're coming up on your 26th year, so congratulations on that. Really with the simple idea of wanting to help businesses grow through a wide variety of different services. They've worked with hundreds of businesses and tens of thousands of stores to build business strategies, web development, marketing, advertising, and really building a community. So again, Toni, thank you so much for joining today. I know our audience is going to learn a whole lot. This is a topic that exists out there. It's a program that exists, but not many people know about it. Not many people are taking advantage of it. So I know that people are going to learn a lot from you today. This is really dedicated to helping businesses that suffered losses during the COVID-19 pandemic. So it exists. Money is out there for independent retailers, for small businesses, but unfortunately, it is not as easy as just raising your hand and saying, I would like my money. There are some steps to go through, some things that you have to do to apply for this refund. So really, I'm going to turn this over to you because you are much more capable and knowledgeable about this subject and knowing how to talk to our retailers about how to take the steps to go through this and receive your employee retention credit. So again, Toni, thank you for being here today, and I'll turn it over to you.
It is a joy to share with this awesome program. And let me tell you why I have gotten passionate about it for our industry. I mean, obviously, with all of that happened in COVID and supply chain and everything, our industry was really hurt, especially those of you at the local level, the craziness that happened. But let me tell you, this is real. There's a lot of noise out there. You are getting phone calls. You are seeing TV ads, radio ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads about the ERC. And you're probably saying, oh my goodness, what in the world is this? But let me tell you, and these are copies, OmegaNet actually received over $40,000. So when I received these checks, I said, whoa, this is real. This is real. So I became a consultant on this to really help our industry. Every aspect of our industry can take advantage of this. So let me just tell you a little bit about what this is all about. I'm going to just show you some screens here. And okay, the ERC, Employee Retention Credit, was part of the CARES Act, along with the PPP. Now, most of y'all, I'm sure, got the PPP, which was a payroll protection program. But back then, you had to choose payroll protection program versus the ERC. Your bank handled the PPP, and it was easier to get. The ERC was a little more complicated. The owners couldn't get it. The 1099s couldn't get it. And so most people went with the PPP, and that money went real quickly. Well, back in 2021, Congress looked at this account for the ERC, and there was like $300 billion left in the account. And so they said, you know what? stores are still hurting. Businesses are still hurting. So let's provide them a way to go and get the money, even if they got the PPP, but even those who did not originally get the PPP, they made it easier to get the money. And easier in one way, easier for you stores, but a little more complicated with the people that are actually doing the filing. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And
Not the right one?
yes, yes. We want to help you. Heart and Main Street and OmegaNet wants to help you get $25,000 to $100,000 back. Recently, I worked with a business and they were shocked when they were able to get $200,000 back. So let's talk about how we can get your money back. There's no upfront money that you have to put out. But there is an urgency because your 2020 refunds will end this coming April. So that's why we really need to go ahead and help you get going on this. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, how can a store even apply? And the next slide will tell us that if you have 2, 3, or 4 employees, and I want to find out as soon as we go through this little brief presentation, I want you to put in the chat or raise your hand of how many employees, raise your hands, how many employees you actually had during 2020 and 2021, because that determines how you qualify. Now, if you had 2, 3, or 4 employees, that's not the owner or those related to the owner. That's a big difference between PPP and ERC. You will work with our partner, Stimulus Geeks. And this is how you will qualify. They look at quarters in 2019 and compare them with 2020. And if there are quarters that you had in 2020 that you had a 50% discount, a decrease in your revenue, then you qualify for that quarter. So it's not about the whole year. You don't say, oh, well, we made money the whole year because we had a good fourth quarter. No, it's per quarter. So one of these checks that I got was for the last quarter of 2020. So that's why we look at the quarters. Now, in 2021, you only had to have a 20% decrease from 2019 to 2021 per quarter. And again, it's all about the quarter, not the total, because some of you, started recovering, depending on what states you were in, started recovering. But again, that's why it's so important, because we got paid for 3 quarters in 2021. So what happens is if you have 5 employees, well, if you have 5 or more, all the way up to 500 employees, and some of you may have multiple stores, so you have more than 5 employees, then it's even more important that you move forward, because not only is it the decrease in revenue that is counted to qualify you, but it's also, did you have to change your business hours? Were you partially shut down for a few days or a few weeks? Did you have to buy a bunch of equipment or gloves or mask or anything? Did you have to limit how many people could come into your stores at a time? So your operational impact was really significant because of the rules of the shutdown. So the people that we work with, the people that we're going to connect you with, they actually not only do the calculations, but they actually will negotiate how much money you should get back from the IRS based on these requirements. Now, it may seem complicated, but let me tell you, we are offering you specialists, because what we are going to connect you with are specialists in the industry, because you really need an ERC specialist to do this correctly. And the next slide will tell you a little bit about that. See, this bill that was passed in 2021 totally changed the rules. It's a 170-page document, and with 7 recently added amendments. It's a very detailed, complicated, a little tricky to complete, not for you, but for the people that are actually going to be submitting this to the IRS. And unfortunately, most CPAs, even large firms, our large firm in Atlanta, said, no, you need to go to a specialist. We don't do that. They do what they do best. But there are certain people that are trained to do this ERC program. That's why Hard on Main Street and OmegaNet are connecting you with specialists. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. If your business had 5 to 500 employees during the quarter, during any quarter of 2020 or 2021, we'll connect you with Bottom Line Concepts. Now, Bottom Line Concepts, they are what's known as forensic accountants. They've been in business since 2009. They have done over 50,000 filings on this and have successfully returned over $7 billion to businesses. Now that's huge. Now, again, if you have 2, 3, or 4 employees, you still can get the money. Now, many firms won't touch you if you have less than 5. But we've partnered with Stimulus Geeks, who are just wonderful to help you and walk you through and hold your hand through the whole process. They don't charge anything up front, again, but they will take a contingency based on how much they bring to you. You get your money, you get your total money, and then you pay them a certain percentage that you have discussed with them prior. Now, I wanted to show you the next slide because this is kind of interesting to find out Bottom Line Concepts. Bottom Line Concepts, like I said, have been in business since 2009. They work with major corporations. They work, Burger King, Hampton, McDonald's, a lot of the sports teams, big companies. They are specialists in dealing with challenges. And so we are just thrilled that they are the leading #1 company in the nation that is doing these ERC filings. And they know how to do it correctly so that there's no questions, but they walk you through it hand by hand. It's amazing how they work with you. And it's easy to find out if you qualify. Now, I know we haven't talked very long, but believe it or not, I'm going to show you how you can qualify quickly and easily. It's simple. Now, we have a QR code there. Some of you aren't used to QR codes, but you could point your phone to that QR code and actually go and you fill out a form, name, phone number, the phone number that you would want to be called specifically to so that they can talk directly with you, because we're going to put you in touch with an expert advisor. They're going to call you, explain again how the system works. They're going to tell you what documents that they're going to need to see, because let me tell you, the IRS they've been told by Congress they're required to give you back this money. They don't always make it real easy. but bottom line will walk you through, and they provide links that you can just upload your documents very easily. And they can tell you, after they take a look at your documents, what they expect to get back to you with. Yeah, it's really exciting when they come back with, okay, for 2020, you can get back this money. For 21, it looks like you're going to get back this money. And then you move forward with the documents and just wait. Right now, it's taking probably 4 to 6 months. We had to wait over 6 months to get ours, but IRS is caught up a lot and they're doing well. But the 2020 returns, the 2020 comparisons will not be available after April. So that's why we need to do this right now. But again, all you have to do is put in that little link in your address bar of your computer and fill out that form. They're going to ask you your phone number again, your email address. They're going to ask you how many employees, what the name of your company is, how many employees you had during that time. They're going to ask you if you had a 50% decrease in any quarter, or if you had a 20% decrease. And then they're going to say, schedule a call. And what you do, it just clicks through to a calendar. And they work 7 days a week. So that you may say, you know what, I want to be called, and they're going to call you to that phone number that you gave. I'm going to, just say, I want to be called on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, or I want to be called Wednesday afternoon at 5. And you schedule what time you want a phone call, and they're going to call and introduce themselves as and the ERC expert from Bottom Line or from Stimulus Geeks. And yeah, the relationship starts. They are so wonderful. And to walk you through, because again, they don't get paid until you get your money. So they're very easy to work with. Now, I know you probably have questions, and I personally would love to know who's on the call and what we can do to help you feel comfortable with moving forward so you can get your money. And again, right here, the QR code and the link, and you can also just contact me. I can answer any questions that you might have. I am a trained consultant. And so I think that's enough of the presentation. Patrick, let's see if anybody has any questions. Has there been any
So again,
questions?
Toni had mentioned it, but with the QR code, if you want, you can use the camera app on your phone. You just open up the camera app, and you don't even have to take a picture. You just kind of hold it there. It will then have like a link pop up. You can just tap on that. It'll take you right to the website, and you can go through those steps that Toni was talking about. But, if you think back to April, May, June of 2021, if you experienced a loss during that period, you are entitled to money. So, there's a great opportunity, a great chance that you have thousands of dollars coming back to you. You just have to go through the steps to get that. So as Toni mentioned, if you want to put it in comments, your store, how many employees you have, if you have any questions about this program, definitely have some time to be able to answer things for you now.
As you're putting questions in there, as you're raising your hand at all, I wanted to tell you, sometimes some of the questions that I get is, I checked with my CPA, I checked with my accountant, and they say I don't qualify. If you have that situation where they say you don't qualify, please contact me. And I want to know and ask them why I don't qualify. Because it very well could be that they're just not totally up on the latest amendments. Because again, they've been amendments lately, and
Okay.
they Congress keeps changing it.
Yeah.
And they are so often they'll say, well, you didn't have a big enough of a decrease. Well, let me tell you, I have a brother who's a dentist in Fort Worth, Texas, and he did not get the PPP because he did not get a 20% decrease, but he had to put up plexiglass. He had to have his patients wait out in the car. He could only allow one in at a time. He had to buy sanitizing stuff. He is qualified because he had a total change in the operational impact that the shutdown had on him. So yeah, a lot of times your bookkeeper or your CPA just doesn't know the latest because they're busy. This is a busy time of the year for them, and they're great, but they're not specialists in ERC. So I would ask that you check with me and let me put you in touch, or go ahead and register. It costs you nothing. It's a little bit of time. It's a little bit of time for you to do that, and talk to them, talk to the expert, and say, well, my accountant says this, and then find out why, because they're wonderful. I love my CPA, but he does. They don't do this. They're a large firm in Atlanta, and they don't do this. And they said, you need to find a specialist. And that's why we found what we found. And it was great, very beneficial. Anyway, so I will.
No. And even to the point you said before, at one point in time, it was if you got the PPP, you could not get the ERC. So even if they're thinking, well, you got the PPP, that's you're not eligible for this. That has changed. There's been many simple things like that have changed that allow you to be eligible for that now. We did have a question come in. Paula asked, for the number of employees that you mentioned, and you mentioned not the owners or related to the owners, but what about related with a different last name? Is that still considered related to?
Well, and that will be a question for the expert advisors, because, we've had situations where they're a same last name, but they were not related. Or they were situations where, they were a totally different family. They had their own taxes. They weren't. I think this is mainly the husband and the spouse.
Gotcha, like household maybe
that are filing, maybe a child.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think a distant cousin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the expert. I'm a consultant, and what I do is I connect you with the experts. But it is so worth it. Oh my goodness, it is so worth it. Because they abide by every law, but again, it's 170 pages. It's 7 amendments. It's very detailed. And they don't get paid till they get you the maximum amount of money. I want you all to get the maximum amount that is available to you, because it is your money, and it's your federal payroll taxes that you paid during that time that you kept your employees. You still paid them, but they weren't working. You didn't have money coming in, but you still kept supporting them, and while you were doing that, you were paying money to the government, the federal taxes. Well, this is the money that is coming back to you. So it's well worth trying. Just go ahead and schedule a call and let them, the experts, advise you.
Yeah.
On
Paula had a question. Is this recorded in a format we can share or post on social media? It will be recorded. You'll be able to, I'll send you a link that you'll be able to share it on social media or whatever platform you would like to. So
yeah.
And there are, there are a lot of spammers out there. There's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of people that aren't ethical out there. They're having you put money up front. A lot of people are not experts. They're not going to do it right, and then you're going to have issues with audits. And you do not need to be afraid of that with Bottom Line and with Stimulus Geeks. They are experts and they do it right. There was a big article with Wall Street Journal yesterday, or I think it was day before yesterday, about bottom line concepts.
Oh, good.
And it is they're very well known. They're very detailed in how they work, that they are the experts. And so we want to connect you.
Yep. And it's money out there for you. You know, worst comes to worst, it's a 10-minute conversation with somebody that they say, hey, you're not eligible, right? But you know, it's money out there for you. That's, you know, $10,000 is better than absolutely nothing. So, you know, it's
Many times, let's say you had like 5 employees, or let's say 4 employees, and you had that 50% decrease a quarter, you know, I mean, during 2020, you're going to get $5,000 per employee. But in 2021, you can get up to $21,000 per employee. So don't turn your back on this. Go for it. Try for it. It's well worth the time, because this is I mean, these aren't real. These are copies of my checks, but the real checks were real. I tell you what, and it was such a blessing, and it'll be a blessing to each one of you. That go ahead and just schedule a call, talk to them. You will be amazed how easy it is to work with. And you're going to basically upload the same paperwork you did for your PPP. Okay. So and then you're going to upload, if you got PPP, you're going to upload your forgiveness letter if you got the loan paid off. You know, so it's, you know, it's not like you're not going to have to spend hours and a lot of money trying to figure out how to fill out the forms. They're going to do this for you. That's why you're paying them.
Yeah. And so what you had mentioned before, the 2021, so that's actually, you only have to have a 20% decrease and you can get more money per employee. So yes, that's a pretty great information there.
And that one expires in April 15 of 25.
Of 2025. Okay.
So the 2020 expires the upcoming April, but they'll go ahead and apply for all of it at once, but it's workable.
Yeah, excellent.
And it works.
Well, don't see any other questions coming in. Well, but Toni, do you want to just kind of real quickly tell people where they can find you, if they wanted to contact you for other services?
Yes, we do. And on that very, very last page of that, it's Toni Ivey is my name, my phone number. There it is.
There we go. Pop back up.
That's my office line, my cell line. Don't hesitate to call the cell line. That is my phone number, my email address. That's the QR code that we are wanting you to just go ahead and scan that anytime, day or night. Now, let me tell you, these consultants, they are available day and night, 7 days a week. So, and they are available to walk you through hand by hand. They communicate with you. They send you a little message that says your call is scheduled in an hour, you know, and then they'll send you another message. Your call is in 30 minutes. They really help you. You're not alone. This is money that they're going to help you get. And please call me. Feel free to call and ask questions. I've dealt with dozens and dozens of companies, and it's really exciting when they call and say, oh, yes, we're qualified for a certain amount of money. And hey, you know, it's there. It's your money. Go get it.
Excellent. Well, Toni, thank you so much for being on today. A quick plug for our next webinar. So on September 26th at 1 Central, 2 Eastern, we're going to Main Street Matters webinar. We're going to be talking about live virtual selling. So this is kind of the next frontier of selling and reaching your customers and being where they are, which is, you know, on their phones constantly. And as our friend Crystal Velkaitis likes to say, you can be in bed with your customers. So through live virtual selling. So it's a skill needing to learn. You might not be as comfortable on camera and selling in that way. So we're going to be talking with a company called Comment Sold and Carolyn Williamson from Comment Sold, and we're talking about how to harness the power of live virtual selling. So it'll be a great webinar. Again, that is September 26th. So please, you can register through heartonmainstreet.org through our education section. And then before we go, again, thank you so much for being here, donating your time. Toni, thank you so much for joining as well. And to our attendees, thank you for being here. Heart on Main Street is raising money currently for retailers that have been impacted by wildfires in Hawaii. Really a devastating impact there that hundreds of businesses were lost in a matter of days. So if you are able, we would love if you could make a donation to Heart on Main Street, either through our website, heartonmainstreet.org, or through our Facebook page. Thank you all so much for being here. Toni, again, I really appreciate it. This is a fantastic program. Thank you so much for walking our audience through. And everyone, have a fantastic day. Take care.